Hello, it's the Fragrance Apprentice. For many people, this time of year is their favourite when it comes to fragrances. For many people, actually, this time of year is their favourite time of year in general. It's lead up to Christmas, it's colder, you can get blankets, you can watch your favourite Netflix shows, you can watch your favourite movies, and you can watch your favourite Fragrance Apprentice videos. Also at this time of year, there are more social events. For us, there's Halloween, Bonfire Night, which is the UK, and with America, of course, you've got Thanksgiving coming up, and then eventually, with everybody, most people, Christmas, or the holidays, as it's called now. So there will be more social events, and what do you want to wear when it comes to social gatherings in the cold weather? Well, you're probably going to want fragrances that are easy to wear, that are people-pleasing. And I just so happen to have the list for you. These are fragrances that have never let me down when it comes to compliments, positive feedback, and putting people at ease. This list is in no particular order. All of them are very good, but for very different reasons. But if you just want to cut to the chase and go for a great all-rounder, I'm going to recommend this. This is Boss the Scent Absolute. I've talked about this for literally years now, and there's a reason for it. Incredibly pleasant, incredibly warming, and people just really like it. The reason being, and this is a theme with most of these fragrances, what's not to like? It's sweet, ethereal, woodsy, but quite fruity. And this is something that you can wear anywhere, any when. I've had not necessarily striking compliments like, oh my god, what is that? I need to buy that for my husband or my boyfriend, or I need to buy that for myself. No, nothing really as exuberant as that. But I've had most comments like, you smell nice, that's very good. And there's just a general great tone and an easy way to express yourself with wearing this fragrance. If you're new to the channel, I've talked about this many times. It's a real high recommendation for me. Go check it out. Number 2 is this. This is ROCHAS Man, or ROCHAS Man. This is an interesting fragrance. I'm going to be speaking soon about the discontinuation of New Harlem, which was also perfumed by Maurice Roussel, who perfumed this. This is the archetypal coffee, vanilla and lavender DNA that had a peak round about the mid-2000s and has since then sort of gone away. Maison Margiela, with their replica line, revitalized it with a fragrance called Coffee Break, which I haven't smelt yet, but this is probably the easiest one to wear with the coffee and lavender combination. Like I said, that is essentially the smell. Coffee, lavender, a bit of vanilla. And if that doesn't sound appealing or sounds unusual, trust me, it's quite amazing. And people really gravitate towards this. I have actually sold this bottle to a couple of other people. 2 people smelt this on me, they really liked it, they enjoyed it, and they actually went out and bought it. One of the most controversial things is the shape of this fragrance bottle. I like to think it's a lava lamp, but most people don't think that. But it's a great scent, and in the cold weather, it's really pleasant, and it's a very good price as well. To up the ante, let's go with this. This is FEVE DELICIEUSE by Christian Dior. Is this discontinued? Is this not discontinued? I get a different story each week of whether this is discontinued or not. Some days it's available on the Dior website, some days it's not. But this is so inviting. It is really one of those fragrances that is really difficult to put into words, and especially after the volume of experiences and just positive experiences and great brilliant moments in my life wearing this, it really starts to get difficult to put into words into a video. I just want to sort of grab you right now and say, you've got to smell this. This is absolutely amazing. I wore this a lot in film school. I wore this in most of my mid-20s, and it was fantastic. As you can see, I've worn a tremendous amount of it, and there would be compliments galore, and people really would ask me, what are you wearing? That's really good, that's amazing. And they'd be very interested until they found out the price. Then they wouldn't be so interested. Next one is this. This is Versace's EROS EDT. Might be a bit too common for some, totally understand that. I do like this. I did a review on this where I said that it reminds me of Christmas and it reminds me of pine trees. Pine trees with this tar-like tonka bean thrown in for good measure. Some people don't like it. Some people think that it's too common, too mainstream. But the one thing that I don't like, the one criticism that I don't like is, and I think this is wrong, is people say, oh, it's generic. And I say, what other fragrance smells like this? Well, before this, of course, obviously EROS got released and there was tons and tons of copies. But before this, there wasn't really too much going around like this, especially in the designer realm, not even in the niche realm either. It's very in your face, it's quite over the top, and that pine tree and vanilla with tonka bean is maybe too intense and too youthful and too juvenile for some, but I have my moments still with this, and people love it. Next one is a fragrance where people are uncertain whether it's discontinued or not. This is Versace's Pour Homme Oud Noir. I'm thinking of also doing a video about this and about how this is potentially discontinued. However, on the Selfridges and Harrods website, very recently, as recent as 2 days ago, when I was researching for the video, I could buy it if I wanted to. So for some of you, I can just say, this smells like oud wood, but it's more powdery, and you'll completely get what I mean, and it's less intense, and it's less edgy and rigid, and it's actually a lot more friendlier and a lot more wearable. But some of you may have never even smelt oud wood, and if you haven't smelt oud wood, you're missing out. Truly, that's a great fragrance. But this it does have oud, but it's probably synthetic. It's probably not the real thing. Oud is this very, very dark, resinous, bitter kind of smell, but this, because it's a designer fragrance and it's a Versace fragrance, it can't be too bitter. It can't be too much. It has to appeal to a mainstream audience. It has to appeal to a designer-led audience, and because of that, it has a lot of powdery sweetness. It's almost as if it's got that dark, intense, robust oud, and then there's been this silky icing sugar that's been placed over it, cynically almost, as if they're going, no, we can't have you to be too different, we can't have you to be too exotic, we've got to make it so that you're liked by the masses. And of course some people enjoy that, some people don't enjoy that, but it's great. And that sweetness, that layer of sweetness underneath the musk, is really nose-catching and very, very pleasant, and it's quite strong. I haven't used too much of it, and I've worn it quite a bit. I've had this for years now, actually, and so it lasts a good amount of time, and in general is just something that you should check out for something different in the designer realm. Next one is this. This is Emporio Armani's Strong With You Freeze. Now, I like Intensely and I like Absolutely. Strong With You, Intensely, Strong With You, Absolutely. This is actually my least favourite. But when it comes to people pleasing and getting sort of reactions that you can count on, Intensely and Absolutely are, they can go off the deep end. This really is. It's very tame. It has a nutty kind of chestnut caramel smell, but it's like you've got that and then they've shoveled on a load of soapy freshness. But I do wear this every now and then, especially when I don't want to get too much attention. I just want to wear something that's easy and pleasant and won't offend anyone. This is absolutely great for that, and you should always have maybe 2 or 3 fragrances in your collection where maybe you don't personally like it, but it's just something like a fail-safe, with fragrances that will just make it so that people around you will enjoy what you're wearing. Going from that all the way to something that potentially may offend or maybe a bit too much. This is SPICEBOMB Extreme. Now, this is very Christmassy. I didn't have Tobacco Vanille last year on Christmas Day, what I usually wear, and so I needed a backup, and I luckily had this. This was my Christmas scent last year. Ginger, cinnamon, those gingerbread-like spices that are very joyful, very homely, and give you a lot of nostalgia about those kinds of smells at Christmas. It's this, but with quite a harsh, woody edge to it that can be a bit abrasive and can be a bit much for people, but on the whole, people do really react well to this, and I think it's because of the cinnamon and the vanilla and the ginger, and these are nostalgic smells for people, and so especially in the real cold, the depths of winter, this is something you should check out. So I'm just editing this video and I've realised that I've missed out the number 8, which is Givenchy Gentleman EDP Boisee. Sorry about that. But yes, Boisee is filled with iris, which is one of my favourite notes, of course, thanks to the DIOR HOMME original collection. This is very people-pleasing, and many people in the fragcom have really started to notice this, including Michelle from Curly Fragrance. It's great for cold weather, and it's something that's actually quite unique in the designer world. It's iris, but not too feminine. It's actually iris with some woods and a little bit of lavender in there to keep it grounded. This is something that's worked really well for me. I've had some nice compliments from it, and it is just something that is very different in the designer world right now, so you should definitely check it out. Number 9 is a controversial one, very controversial. In fact, this is Molecule 01 by Eccentric Molecules. I've seen people rave about this, love it, adore it, but for some others, they think it's the Emperor's New Clothes, and I totally get that and I respect that. I can only tell you my personal experience, which is I worked in Harvey Nichols for a short number of years, and there were 2 fragrances that would always sell. They were the highest selling fragrances in that department, above the rest. One was Creed's Aventus, obviously. Second one was this. People absolutely swore by it. They loved it. And also, another thing is that I would tell this very occasionally. I wasn't supposed to, because I was either working at Creed or Procter & Gamble. But, you know, if nobody was about, I'd usually have to, you know, serve the person who wanted the molecule. And they would always say, I smelt this on somebody else, and now I'm here to buy it. That would be so consistent. This was a fragrance that, in a way, went viral, especially in Manchester and the north of England. So I've seen nothing but good things, but cynics or skeptics is probably a more appropriate term. Look, it's ISOE super. It's nothing special. Doesn't really smell of anything. Doesn't matter. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. And I get what they're saying. And anybody who's going to say that, I'm not going to argue, because I get where they're coming from. But I don't know what to tell you. That's what I saw all the time. People just adored this and loved this so much. So it's got to be on this list. And finally, a little bit pricey, a little bit, but totally worth it again. This is a fragrance that I've really fallen in love with. So this is automatically sort of the main event in that respect. It's Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. It's got that signature Tom Ford DNA that's prevalent in all the leather-based fragrances, but it's got this real aerated cleanliness to wash away any doubt of it being too much and too harsh. So yeah, Ombre Leather, for some of you, you may not get it, you might not be ready for it. Go for something a bit safer like Boss the Scent Absolute. But for those of you who are mature, people in your late 30s, maybe early 40s, and you want something that's mature and has quite a confidence to it, you've got to go for Ombre Leather, no questions asked. Anyway, that was the list of cold weather people-pleasing fragrances. I hope that you go out there and start to enjoy yourself. Obviously, lockdown has been prevalent, but now that things are easing, hopefully go out, live, see your friends, see your family, see your loved ones, and smell good at the same time. Anyway, I'm the Fragrance Apprentice, and I'll see you tomorrow.